Question 5. A. ABC is a scalene triangle on horizontal ground. AYX is a straight vertical post. Over here, held in place by two wires XB and YC. AC equals 4.8 meters, BC is 5.6 meters, and angle ACB is 20.4 degrees. 1. Calculate AB. So for this triangle, we have to use the cosine rule. If you thought of using the rules for a right angle triangle, for this, like trigonometric ratios, it doesn't work because it says that ABC is a scalene triangle. So, well, let's use cosine rule. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. Now, let's say A squared is AB squared. That will be B squared, let's just say 4.8 squared plus 5.6 squared minus 2 into 4.8 into 5.6 into cos the angle opposite this, which is 20.4. And AB squared will be equal to, let's just do all of it and then simplify. So 4.8 squared plus 5.6 squared will be that minus 2 into 4.8 into 5.6 times 20.4 cos. That will be 4.0117. Now we can just square root this. So AB is equal to square root of that, which is approximately 2 meters. That's the answer. By the way, if you wrote it to three significant figures, this is still 2 meters because it'd be 2.0029 like that. So third significant figure is here, fourth one is here, and this is less than 5. So it'll only be by 2.00 meters. So that's the answer. Now let's go to part 2. Angle XBA is equal to 64 degrees. Calculate AX. So first let's write the side AB is 2 meters. Now angle XBA is 64 degrees. Calculate AX. We can use tan. So tan theta is equal to opposite by adjacent. And in this case, tan theta will be tan 64, which is equal to opposite, which is AX, divided by adjacent, which is 2. So AX equals 2 times tan 64, which is equal to, let's get our calculator out, 64 tan times 2, 4.1 meters. That's the answer. By the way, this is still a 3 significant figure approximation since the fourth significant is 0, which is less than 5. Now we can go to part 3. AY is equal to 2.9 meters. Let's just write that down. Calculate the area of triangle YAC. So triangle YAC, we can find the area using a simple half BH. Because there's a right angle triangle, we know that there's the height and there's the base. So area is equal to half times base times height, which is equal to 2.9 times 4.8, and of course we multiply by half. That will be, let's get a calculator out, 2.9 times 4.8, we divide that by 2 to get 6.96 meters squared. That's the answer. Now we can go to part B. In triangle PQR, M is the midpoint of PQ. So PM, in other words, is equal to MQ. RM equals 8 centimeters. Angle PRM is equal to 30 degrees. And angle RMQ is 75 degrees. Calculate PQ. So first of all, we can find angle PMR, which is equal to 180 minus 75, which is 105 degrees. Next, we can find angle RPM, which is equal to 180 minus 105 minus 30, which is 45 degrees. Now we know these two angles. We can find this side here. So we know this side and we know both of these angles, so we can use sine rule. A by sine A equals B by sine B. Now, let's say A is MR, which is 8 centimeters, by sine 45 is equal to B, let's say that's PM, divided by sine 30. Now, PM is equal to 8 by sine 45 times sine 30. And by the way, if you remember, sine 30 from trigonometric table is half. You can cancel this, so it's simply 4 by sine 45, which is actually 1 by root 2, but then I'm simply going to do it on the calculator to make it easier. So 4 divided by 45 sine will be 5.6568 dot 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 in centimeters, of course. And then that'll be equal to MQ. So now we know MQ and PM, so we can find PQ. PQ equals MQ plus PM. And that'll be simply 2 times any of the values. So I'll just multiply this one here by 2. So it'll be 11.3 centimeters. To 3 significant figures, of course. And that will be the answer. Let's go to question 6. Question 6. A. The cumulative frequency table shows information about the speed of each of 200 cars as they pass a speed camera. So the speed and cumulative frequency are given over here. 1. On the grid, draw the cumulative frequency diagram. Let's start with V less than or equal to 70. And that'll be at 12. So we'll put a mark 70 and 12. So over here. And then V less than or equal to 80, we get 46, which is here. Less than or equal to 90, we get 115. Less than or equal to 95, we get 155 over here. Less than or equal to 100, we get 177 up here. And less than or equal to 120 finishes everything with 200. Now you can connect the dots and draw a curved frequency diagram. Try to make it as smooth as possible. I'm of course trying, although it is not very smooth. Like, it should look something like this. Of course, I could change this a bit. I'll make it a bit more linear over here, like that. But at the end, the curve should look something like this. Like an S stretched out too much to both sides. And that will be our answer. Let's go to question part 2. Use your frequency diagram to find an estimate of A, the median. That's the 50th percentile. And that will be, out of cumulative frequency 200, we need to find 400. And the 100th cumulative frequency is at, if we go all the way down here, 89 kilometers per hour. And that will be our answer, 89 kilometers per hour. B, the interquartile range, that will be quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Quartile 3 is the 75th percentile, and quartile 1 is the 25th percentile. So we go back, 75th percentile will be 3/4 of the way from 0 to 200, which will land us at 150. It'll go here to get to 94 kilometers per hour. So this is 94 kilometers per hour, and that's Q3. Now for quartile 1, that will be 50 as cumulative frequency, and that'll land us at 81 kilometers an hour. So we can mark this point, 81 kilometers per hour. And now we can subtract Q3 minus Q1, 94 minus 81, which is equal to 13 kilometers per hour. That's the answer. Don't worry if you got values which are similar but not the exact same, because people could have drawn the graph a bit differently, right? You won't get the exact same curve as me all the time. It could be slightly different. That's why the values could range a bit, plus or minus 1 from these values, of course. And now for part C, the number of cars with a speed greater than 110 kilometers per hour. So we go to 110, that'll be a cumulative frequency of 192. So let's just mark that 192 frequency. And the total is 200, and that means number with a speed greater than 110 is 200 minus 192 is equal to 8 cars. That's the answer. Now I can go to part B. The frequency table shows information about the mass of each of 50 trucks. The mass and frequency are given. 1. Calculate an estimate for the mean mass of the trucks. So first let's find the midpoint. So I'll just make a midpoint row over here. That will be 2,300, 3,050, and then 4,250, and finally 5,350. Now, the mean mass of the trucks we can find by multiplying the midpoint by the frequencies and then dividing by total frequencies. So the mean will be equal to 2,300 times 12 plus 3,050 times 15 plus 4,250 times 16 plus 5,350 times 7. Whole thing divided by 12 plus 15 plus 16 plus 7. And that will be, let's get a calculator out, 2,300 times 12 plus 3,050 times 15 plus 4,250 times 16 plus 5,350 times 7. That will be 178800 divided by 12 plus 15 plus 16 plus 7, which is 50. Now we can just divide and get the answer 3576. And by the way, this isn't kg because it's the mass of the trucks, mean mass, which you're finding. So I'll just write that there. 3576 kg is the answer. Part 2, in a histogram showing this information, the height of the first block is 6 centimeters. Calculate the heights of remaining 3 blocks. So the height of the blocks in the histogram represents the frequency density. And I'm just writing FD for short, for frequency density. And that will be the frequency by class width. So let's just add a row in the table for frequency density. Let's just write that at the bottom. So the class width is 600 here, right? So frequency density is 12 by 600, which is 0.02. Next, we have 15 divided by 900, which is, let's get our calculator out, 15 divided by 900 is 0.0167. And then 16 divided by 1500, which is 0.0107. By the way, all of these are the 3 significant figures. And then 5,000 to 5,700, that'll be 7 divided by 700, which is simply 0.01. So 6 centimeters is to 0.02 for frequency density. Now let's find how much for 0.01. So 0.01 will be 3 centimeters because you divide both by 2. Now 0.0167 will be simply multiplying the same thing by 1.67. So let's do 3 times 1.67. That'll be 5 centimeters height, right? For frequency density 0.0167. And 0.0107, that'll be 3 times 1.07. That'll be 3.21 centimeters. And for 0.01, which you got for the last one, that's simply 3 centimeters. So we'll write these in the same order which we got them. And yeah, that will be our answer. Oh wait, they've written centimeter over there, so it's not really required to write it again. That will be our answer. Let's move to question 7. Question 7. A. The diagram shows the graph of a function. Put a ring around the word which correctly identifies this type of function. So we can see that there are 2 distinct turning points where the gradient of the tangent line is 0. Since the y coordinate does not change at all in this line, and therefore this is a cubic graph. Part B1 on the diagram sets the graph of y equals 1 by 2x, x is not equal to 0. So first let's think about the graph of y equals 1 by x. So this is how it will look for y equals 1 by x, and for 1 by 2x it'll simply be much more steep, like that and like that. For 1 by x it would be like this and like this, so it just much more steep gradient, like that. It just goes like that. So we need to draw a graph something like this. The asymptotes are of course at the x-axis and the y-axis, so that is kind of clear. So this is y equals 1 by 2x. The bend has to be much closer to the x and y axis than the y equals x graph, which is like that. It's a bit more lenient about where the curve, the bend of the graph is. And for part 2, solve the equation 1 by 2x equals 2x. We can just bring 2x to the other side. That means 4x squared equals 1. X squared equals 1 by 4. And that means x equals square root of 1 by 4, which is plus or minus 1 by 2. So x is 1 by 2 and x is negative half. That's the answer. Let's go to part C. 1. On the diagram, sketch the graph of y equals sine x for 0 less than equal to x less than equal to 360 degrees. So 0 is the sine of 0, and the sine 90 is 1, sine 180 is 0, sine 270 is negative 1, and sine 360 is 0. So using these 5 points, which are quite easy to remember, we can draw a sine graph. Something like this. There we go. It's kind of upward curve and then downward curve. That's all. And of course, yeah, this point is a bit above. It's over here, yeah. So that will be our answer. Part 2, solve the equation 3 sine x plus 1 equals 0 for 0 degrees less than or equal to x less than or equal to 360 degrees. That will be 3 sine x equals minus 1, sine x equals minus 1 by 3, x equals sine inverse of minus 1 by 3, which is equal to, let's get our calculator out. There we go. So minus 1 divided by 3, that's that. Sine inverse of this is minus 19.47. At least that's what the calculator is giving. So calculator value. But then we cannot have a negative value for a sine graph. So let's look at the sine curve here. So we have a negative value. That means inside this range 0, 360, there will be the values inside 180 degrees and 360 degrees for a negative value, which means we have to add 360 to this value to make it come from over here to over here, which is what we want, in between 0 and 360, and then we need to make it come over here. So we add 19.47, we exclude the sign, and then add 19.47 with 180 degrees to get the two values. So if 0 is less than equal to x less than equal to 360, that means x equals 180 plus 19.47, which is equal to 199.5 degrees because it's an angle, one decimal place. I'll put at the end, and then x equals 360 minus 19.47, which is equal to, let's do that, 340.53. So you'll put 340.5 to one decimal place, and that will be our answer. X equals 199.5 degrees and x equals 340.5 degrees. Now I can go to question 8. Question 8a. A shop sells shirts for X dollars and jackets for X plus $27. The shop sells 4 shirts and 3 jackets for a total of $194.75. Write down and solve an equation to find the cost of one shirt. So we sell 4 shirts, that will be 4x plus 3 jackets, which is 3 times x plus 27. That's 194.75. Now that means 4x plus 3x plus 3 times 2781 is 194.75. So 7x is equal to 194.75 minus 81, which is 113.75. So x is equal to, let's get our calculator. So 113.75 divided by 7 to get $16.25. That's the answer. Now we can go to part B. Solve the simultaneous equations. You must show all your working. X squared plus 4y equals 37. 5x plus y equals minus 8. So first let's rearrange the second equation over here to substitute it into the first equation. So you can rearrange it to make y the subject. Y equals minus 5x minus 8. Now this is a rearranged form of equation 2. Y equals minus 5x minus 8. Now substituting, let's say it's equation 2 prime. So substituting 2 prime into equation 1. By the way, if you know anything about calculus, you might think that this prime means derivative. In this case, I am not meaning that. I just want to say that this is rearranged form of 2. That's why I've named it 2 something here, which is prime. Don't think about it in advanced maths way. We are doing an IGCSE extended math, which does not involve any calculus. So just leave that. So substitute 2 prime into 1, and that means x squared plus 4 times minus 5x minus 8 equals 37. Now x squared minus 20x minus 32 equals 37. So x squared minus 20x minus 69 equals 0. So which two numbers multiply to minus 69 and add up to minus 20? So we take minus 23 times 3. These two will make minus 69. And then minus 23 plus 3 will make minus 20. And therefore, factorization will be x minus 23 times x plus 3 is equal to 0, and x equals 23 and x equals minus 3 are the solutions. Now we found all the x values. Let's substitute to find y. Now you can substitute x equals 23 into 2 prime, the equation we got over here. Now y equals minus 5 into 23 minus 8. Y equals minus 115 minus 8, which is minus 123. And then substituting y equals minus 3 into 2 prime. Oh, sorry, this is x. So x equals minus 3 into 2 prime. So y equals minus 5 times minus 3 minus 8, which is equal to 15 minus 8, 7. And x equals 23, y equals minus 123, x equals minus 3, y equals 7. That will be our answers. Now we can go to part C. A solid cylinder has radius x and height 6x. A sphere of radius r has the same surface area as the total surface area of the cylinder. Show that r squared equals 7 by 2x squared. The surface area A of a sphere with radius r is A equals 4 pi r squared. So what's the total surface area of a cylinder? Surface area of cylinder equals 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. And the surface area of a sphere is already given, 4 pi r squared. So now let's substitute the values for r and h, which will be x and 6x. So that'll be 2 pi times x times 6x plus 2 pi times x squared. That'll be equal to 2 times 6, 12, x squared times pi plus 2x squared pi. And that will be 14x squared pi. And now the surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 pi r squared, which is equal to 14x squared pi, right? The radius is r, that's what we already substituted there. And now we can simply rearrange this. We can cancel the pi's first because they are present on both sides. And now r squared equals 14 by 4 times x squared, which is 7 by 2 x squared. And this is what we need to prove. So that's simply proven. By the way, if you don't know why we have to prove it, it's just there in the question. So yeah, that would be the answer.